Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Aven Colony, a brand new game that's just been released just a couple of days ago on Thursday the 25th of July. This is a game that's been in development for the last 2.5 years or so. It was put into beta on Windows in 2016 and as I say, just a couple of days ago it was pushed live as a full release on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Windows. So, Aven Colony is a kind of city management, sim builder, but with a little bit of a difference. We have a mothership in orbit of the planet Aven, and lots of little mini colonies have been established, sort of first wave colonies, and our job is to go in and run those as a governor and increase the amount of jobs and food resources, water, power, defences, all of those different things, and turn them into thriving colonies. And then once we've done that, we move on to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and so on and so forth. Each one is set in a different location, so you have different environments which can cause different interactions. As you can see from some of the screenshots here, we have desert worlds, we have quite lush green areas, we have ice areas, and we have different aliens and creatures that we interact with as well. So you saw a giant sandworm there. There are some creep colonies, creep spores which attack your buildings. You also get virus spores. You saw some viruses moving through the tunnels a moment ago there as well. And it's a fun little game. I really enjoy it. It's £25 on the PlayStation Network, which translates to around about $30 on the American version of the network. Not sure about Windows or Windows price. Xbox should be priced the same as PlayStation, so £25 or $30. And today we're going to look at the Hollow Sims. These are the two kind of training missions, just to give you a basic rundown of how to operate and control the game. So let's take a look at Hollow Sim 1 first of all. This is interface training. Welcome, Governor. High Command has requested that you run this brief Hollow Sim to introduce you to the basic controls and user interface of the colony governance system. This training exercise is optional, but we consider it a high priority. This new world presents many challenges and the lives of your colonists are at stake. And then Hollow Sim 2, which we'll be doing straight afterwards, is Advanced Colony Management. This Hollow Sim will introduce you to some of the more advanced features of the colony governance system, as well as key concepts such as colonist morale, overlays, and social policies. As with the prologue, this training exercise is optional, but Commissioner Veronica considers it very important. And then after the Hollow Sims, it immediately then will take you into the campaign missions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 missions are available, and each one unlocks as you complete the previous one. So I've completed the first two, as you can see, and I'm almost complete on the third one. So I've been playing it for a couple of days and kind of getting used to it, and the campaigns aren't too bad. They're pretty standard fare, nothing overly inspiring. But of course, in games like this, the real fun is in sandbox mode. So you have the choice of all 9 of the different locations.
Hello,
and you also have a choice of different settings as well. So you can choose how good your starting resources are, low, medium or high. Environmental events can be off, rare, occasional, normal, frequent or extreme. Mission objectives. Now, when you're doing these sort of campaign missions, obviously you have objectives pop up all the time. In sandbox mode, you can either have them off completely, or you can just have them set at population growth. And basically, they give you little rewards, little incentives to boost your colony population. Usually, in small chunks to start with, and then when you get to 100, it then asks you to boost to 200, then 300, then 400, then 500. Morale determines how difficult it is to keep everyone happy. Again, you can make it very low, low, medium, medium, high, or very high. Just determines how hard it is to keep everyone happy. Minerals, the level of mineral resources that or the deposits on the map will supply before they run out completely. Again, lots of different settings. Referendums. Now, the way to keep you sort of in check is every referendum is kind of a vote to see how you're doing, and if you fail to win re-election, then that's game over. It's not too difficult to get re-elected. You just need a majority, so you need a 51% passing vote. The worst I've got so far is, I think, 75%. And again, you can choose how frequently the referendums are, or you can turn them off completely. Cargo pods determines whether they can, how frequently they appear on the map and what kind of resources they have as well. So they can turn them off, or low, normal, or extra resources. Resupply pods, similar kind of thing. You can choose how many beacons you want. These are quite useful if you get into trouble. You can always call for a resupply pod to bring down crucial supplies like food and water. And then your expedition difficulty. You can actually send expedition teams off into a separate map system, which we will see later in the series, where they can just buzz around and look at and interact with different locations. Maybe find colonists or explorers that are stranded and need a rescue. Maybe you need to go and resupply a different settlement. Maybe you need to engage in combat with a sandworm. There's all sorts of different things in there, and again, you can choose how easy or hard you want the expeditions to be. But as I say, today we're going to be looking at the HoloSims. So we'll go straight into HoloSim 1. I really like the art style in the game. It's nice and futuristic and stylish, and it actually holds it quite well when you get really close into it as well, which is nice. So this is the prologue, an introduction to the colony governance system. Welcome, Governor. Let's start with the basics of controlling your colony overseer drone. Please try the following. Move our camera around. So this is left and right stick. And we can go up and down as well. This is how we pan around. And then rotating the camera. To get a better view of your base and surroundings, you can rotate and tilt the drone's camera. So we can go like that, and we can also go up and down like that as well. So this is how we kind of pivot around. It gets a little bit weird at times. It takes a little getting used to. You can also use zoom control as well. So L1 will zoom us out. R1 will zoom us in. And if we do get too far away, we can always press R3, and that will take us back to the colony itself. Nanites are self-assembling carbon metallic nanostructures used to create, upgrade, and repair everything in your colony. We have added a new indicator along the bottom of your screen. You can see it's flashing in green there. And this indicator tells you how many nanites are currently in your colony's inventory. So nanites are kind of like your currency. You need nanites to build, you need nanites to upgrade, you need it for certain resources as well, and you have a limited starting supply. You can make more of them, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, let's press down, and now we have access to the bar along the bottom. This is our sort of overview tab section, where we can have a look at various different things. This is nanites. Building a mine. Let's build a mine on top of the iron deposits beside your habitat. The mine will cost 9 nanites. Nanites are required for the construction of most of your colony's buildings. And mining is how we can actually get the materials we need to create new nanites. So R2 opens up the radial wheel, so you can see all of the different options that we have here. Residential, resource management, spaceport, electricity, drone management structures, defense, farming, mining and processing, water, air management, service-related structures, tunnels, technology, and megastructures. We're going to go into mining and processing structures, and we're going to build a tier 1 mine. Once you've unlocked one of these buildings for the first time, you can then go straight on to building a more advanced version of that particular facility. Obviously they're more expensive. So you can see 15 nanites is required to build a tier 1 mine, a tier 2 is 27, and a tier 3 is 35. You can basically just upgrade these individually as well, so you can build a tier 1 and then upgrade it all the way to tier 3 if you wanted to. Let's place the mine down where it's telling us to. There we go. Changing the game speed. The simulation is paused. We'll need to unpause to complete the mine. Use the game speed controls to run the simulation at normal speed, at double speed, and 4 times speed. So this is easy to do. It's left and right on the D-pad. So pressing right will increase the speed of the game all the way up to 8 times, and pressing left will slow it back down again. Seasons. Each day on Aven Prime is called a sol, but it lasts much longer than a day on old Earth. The leftmost progress bar is the indicator panel. It shows the progress of the time through the current sol. A sol is divided into 4 seasons. During winter, the sun goes down, it becomes difficult to grow food, and solar panels generate less electricity. So this is kind of a really cool little feature that I absolutely really love, is that you kind of need to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. You have to stockpile food, and in some cases even stockpile electricity in storage batteries, because when winter hits, it can really have an adverse effect. I mean, there are ways to deal with that and cope with it, and obviously it depends on the difficulty level that you're playing on as well as to how severe the drop-off is. But yeah, you can find that a colony that thrives during the main seasons really struggles during winter, and winter accounts for about 1/3 of the year as well. So you really do have to be very careful going ahead. So let's access the indicator panel to highlight the season's progress bar. And you can see here we're hour 20 of 35 in the season. Aven's low oxygen environment requires us to hermetically seal the colony's internal atmosphere. This means instead of roads, you'll be using air-sealed tunnels to connect all of your structures. So we're going to open up our build menu, and we're going to build some tunnels. Now it's just a nice simple click and drag kind of system there. You can kind of be a bit creative. Obviously it's not letting us do that because it's a tutorial. It's very specific on where it wants us to build. But there we go. Just click and drag, and let's speed time up. Get those built nice and quickly. There we go. Now the electricity indicator in the indicator panel shows your current power supply and demand. Your solar panels are generating 36 power, but the rest of your colony requires 43. As a result, your storage depot was automatically switched off. You can see here it's got red flashing lights. That indicates it's no longer functioning. So let's access the indicator panel and highlight the electricity indicator. So again, press down and then scroll across using the D-pad. And there we go. It gives us a quick breakdown of our current electrical situation. All structures in your colony either produce or consume electricity. Electricity is automatically distributed through all connected structures. Tunnels are an inexpensive way to distribute electricity, so make sure that you have them built. I hate the way that the game keeps doing this. It rushes off before you get the chance to actually see everything that's written there. If our supply dips below demand, buildings will automatically shut off until balance can be restored. Again, kind of disappeared before I had the chance to finish reading it. But basically, what I was saying is, in the same way with most power management aspects of sim games, the furthest things away from the power generations will be the ones that get switched off first, and to indicate that they're no longer powered up, they have red flashing lights on each corner, and they can give you all sorts of nasty issues depending on what it is that's powered itself off. If it's a construction drone, then you've got to really be very careful, because until you can get power back in there, you can't build anything, you can't repair anything, you can't even break anything down and dismantle it, because it's all done using the construction drones. If it's your storage, like in this example here, anything that's stored in there becomes at risk. So your food, if you have food in there, automatically starts to decompose because it's no longer being stored in refrigeration units or whatever type of storage it needs. It just starts to basically rot So you can end up very quickly losing quite a lot of food if you're not too careful. So the game wants us to build a solar panel now. This should provide enough power to keep our storage depot humming. Open the power submenu and place a solar panel at the location indicated. So there is our power options here. And we're going to build a solar panel. It wants us to build a tier 1, but we could build a tier 2 if we wanted to. We have enough nanites. We're going to go with just a tier 1. And you can see where it wants us to build it, just here. So we'll place that in, we'll speed time up. There we go, solar panel built. Population indicator. We've added a new indicator just to the left of the nanite indicator. The number on this indicator shows your colony's population. The dial and its colour indicate the colony's morale. That is, how happy your colonists are. As a colony grows larger, it becomes harder and harder to keep your colonists happy. So again, press down to open our indicator submenu, and we're going to scroll across and take a look at population. We also have surveillance camera mode. This is kind of, a little gimmicky. I don't really tend to use this that much. It's time to meet our colonists. Fortunately for us, there are several dozen tiny surveillance cameras floating around the colony right now that will help us get a closer look. So we press up on the D-pad and we enter surveillance mode. Now we can click on a colonist. When we select a colonist, a selection panel will appear to provide you with the relevant information about that individual as determined by our scanners. So you can actually scroll through the different cameras by pressing R1, and it's very difficult to actually tell exactly where you are on the map when it's anything other than a very, very small little colony like this. Let's speed time up a bit so we can get some colonists to appear. Oh, there's one. Missed him. There we go.
Hello,
Let's press
Governor.
X. And we should now be familiar with the basics and controls of the user interface of the colony governance system. That concludes Holosim Holosim training campaign number 1. So it's going to load us straight into number 2. And this time we're on a different setting. This is advanced training. An introduction to some of the more advanced concepts of colony management. So the first Holosim demonstrated the purpose of several of the indicators in your colony governance system. Now let's take a look at the food indicator. So again, we're going to press down, scroll across, and pull up a little brief overview of our food. Your colonists need food and water to survive. As your colony expands, you will have more and more hungry mouths to feed. It's important to keep an eye on the amount of food and water per colonist in your colony inventory. Your colony's food and water are stored in your colony inventory, along with all other resources that you consume and generate. Let's open the colony control panel, which will show us the colony's current inventory. So we open up this submenu with L2. Now, expeditions is grayed off. That doesn't open up until you actually build an expedition center, and that's a long way off. So we won't be seeing that today, but we will see it in the future. So let's go into colony control. Just press X to open it. And there we go. We have a nice overview in here of all the different areas. So inventory, population and morale, powers and policies, colonists, buildings, mission settings, and statistics. We have a look at the inventory tab. As you can see, your inventory currently contains only ration packs and some rice. You can highlight these resources for more info. So there you can see we have nutritious vitamin-enriched bars optimized for food storage, and a basic staple food from Old Earth. Let's close the dialog box and start growing some more food. So we're going to want to start to place a farm in a fertile area nearby. So let's start by building a line of tunnels to extend our colony out towards that area. So again, we're going to click and drag. Speed time up, let the tunnels get built nice and quickly. There we go. Now select a farm for placement and select corn as the crop type from the crop selector in the upper left. When you do that, you'll see the coloured squares indicating how good each location is for growing corn. So I'm going to open up the building menu, and we're going to go to food and farming structures, and we're going to build a farm. and then use L1 and R1 to cycle through the different crops that we want. Some of these are inedible. You can actually grow these, but you need to actually go into the building itself and then turn on the ability to farm inedible crops. So we want corn, and you can see in the right box we can produce different amounts based on the square that we're on. So it goes down to practically nothing in certain areas and can be quite high in other areas. We're going to build just here where it's going to give us 3.6 corn per hour. And again, we'll speed up time and 3D print that nice and quickly. There we go. And there's our farm. Now that we've built our farm, let's take a look and see who's working there. So we can press colony control and then go to the L2 and then press the overlay menu option here. And we need to highlight the employment overlay, which is this one here. The employment overlay shows where our colonists live and work. The purple bars represent where the colonists live, and the green bars represent work sites. The colonists automatically attempt to distribute themselves amongst the available jobs as they see fit. As you can see, your 16 colonists currently work at the construction drone, the mine, and the farm. Let's tell our farm it needs lots of workers. Select the farm and change its worker priority to fill to tell it that it may take workers from other jobs with a lower priority. So this is how you can move your workers around from one site to another. And we're going to go with fill, which is the most extreme of the fill options here. As you can see, the available workers have now moved to the farm, which now has 5 out of 5 workers. These additional workers will make your farm significantly more productive. While we're at it, let's also reduce our food consumption. We can use the rationing social policy to force them to eat less. They won't like it, but they'll just have to deal with it. It's for their own good. So we go into colony control and we go to policies, and we can switch on rationing here to reduce food consumption by 20%, but it will have a negative effect of 7 to 11 against our freedom morale. You should now be familiar with the core concepts of running a colony on Aven Prime. You are now ready for the first full mission, Vanar. So there we go, that's a quick look at the basic control system of Aven Colony. When we come back on the channel tomorrow, we will actually go in and do that first mission on Vanar and build up a colony from very small beginnings up to something a bit more substantial. So I hope you like this sort of first little glimpse at Aven Colony, and I look forward to seeing you back on the channel tomorrow for the next part. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you very soon.